Hi, this video is going to briefly describe how the Google Suite-based system works for the results-based coaching tool. So to start, I'd like to show you this blank dashboard. So each school will have a dashboard that looks something like this, where all of the teachers are listed down the left-hand side of the screen. And across the top is a time axis where each column of the spreadsheet is a different week of the school year. So now I'd like to show you the process of filling out the Google form that captures all of the information about the student-centered coaching. Now to start, I just want to reference Diane Sweeney's results-based coaching tool because everything that we'll be filling out in the Google form is just what's already on the results-based coaching tool, including the standards-based goal, the instructional practices, instructional coaching, teacher learning, and student learning, as well as the pre-assessment data and post-assessment data. So now let's practice filling out a coaching cycle. So to start, the coach is going to come down here to this form link tab and access the Google form. So let's practice filling this out real quick. So let's start a coaching cycle. So I'm going to choose the school. I'll choose the coach. So let's just say there's one coach at the school. I'll choose the teacher. Let's say teacher number 5. And now I'm going to fill in all of the information about this coaching cycle. So I'll choose a start date. So let's say it's the first week here of February. I'll choose an end date. Now at this point, because I'm just starting the cycle, this is an anticipated end date. We can change the end date in the future. So let's just say it's going to take basically through the beginning of March, like 5 weeks. Now I'm going to enter in the focus of the cycle. And just for time's sake, I'm just going to enter in some gibberish, but this is where obviously the coach enters some meaningful information. It could be, a couple of sentences, a paragraph, whatever it is. So I'll just say AAA. Now we get down to the standards-based goal. Students will, I'll just say BBB. Again, all this information is on the results-based coaching template, which is here, which I already showed you. Now we'll get back to the standard. So let's just say this is a math standard, MA dot, maybe it's middle school standard, 678.1.4 or something like that. Get down to the learning targets. Let's just say CCC. Now we get down to the pre-assessment data. And this is an opportunity to enter the number of students in each of the 4 different performance categories. So emerging, developing, meeting, and exceeding. So let's say there were 20 kids in a class, and maybe the coaching cycle started where there were 5 kids in each of the different performance categories. So I would put 5, 5, 5, 5, depending on the distribution of performance. Next, I'll move to the instructional practices. So what instructional practices will help students? So I'll just say maybe I'm on DDD right now. So now we get down to student-centered coaching. What coaching practices were implemented during this coaching cycle? And so here's where the tense has kind of changed. We're asking questions after the fact. So at this point, because as a coach, I'm just starting the coaching cycle, I'm not going to fill in this information down here because this is saying, as a result of coaching, what practices are being used, the post-assessment data. So all of this stuff happens kind of at the end of the cycle. So as I'm starting this coaching cycle, I'm filling in the information that's pertinent to start the cycle, which is this stuff up here, but I'm not going to enter in any of the information at the end of the cycle. So I'll scroll down to the bottom. And the last question here is cycle status, and it is the cycle complete? So because I'm just starting the cycle as a coach, I'm going to say no. At this point, the cycle is not complete. So click no, click submit, and we'll come back here to the dashboard. And you'll notice what just happened. There is now a light blue rectangle that represents the coaching cycle that we just entered. We chose teacher number 5, so the coaching cycle is on teacher number 5's row. And the cycle started at the beginning of February and went through the first week of March. So the width of the rectangle represents that duration of the coaching cycle. So now when the user hovers over the rectangle, there's a custom link that pops up. So you can click the link, and it takes you back to the same instance of the Google form with the information that was already submitted. So we had teacher number 5, and all of this information was what we submitted initially when we started the coaching cycle. So if the cycle went another week or 2 longer, we could change the end date here. Maybe the focus or a standard changed, we can modify that information here. So let's just say the coach is now finished with the coaching cycle. So the coach is going to come down here and now finish entering the information that's pertinent to the cycle. So which coaching practices were implemented, maybe the coach and teacher engaged in goal setting, analysis of student work, co-teaching. They also plan collaboratively together. Teacher learning. So what's the teacher doing now? Let's just say, I think we're on EEE, again, for time's sake. The post-assessment data. So out of our 20 kids, maybe the distribution now is, 2, 4, 6, and 8 or something like that. The student performance shifted to the higher performing categories like meeting and exceeding expectations. Again, how does student achievement increase? What are the students doing? I'll just say, I think I meant GGG. And what is the follow-up for students? Again, let's just say HHH. And so now, at this point, if the coaching cycle is complete, because all the information has been filled in and the support has been given to the teacher, the coach can click, yes, the coaching cycle is complete, if it is in fact complete, and then press submit. And let's see what happens upon pressing submit with the coaching cycle is complete. So we'll come back to the dashboard. And if you notice, it usually takes around 5 to 10 seconds for this part of the program to run. There's now a dark blue rectangle in the same space. So teacher number 5 for the same duration. This represents the coaching cycle, but it's now dark blue because the cycle is now complete. So now when the user hovers over this rectangle, there's a link that pops up. But the link actually takes the user to a completed Google Doc, which is basically the artifact of the coaching cycle. And this represents all of the information that was submitted. So you can see here the teacher, the coach name, the dates, and then here we get into, again, the same information that was captured on the Google form, which includes the standards-based goal, the pre-assessment data and percentage of students in each category, instructional practices, student-centered coaching, teacher learning, student learning, and then the post-assessment data for the number of students and the percent of students in each of the different categories. So once the coaching cycle says, yes, it is completed, then the Google Doc is automatically created. But you can't go back to the form once the Google Doc is automatically created. That's why there's a button for yes and no. So I'll come back to the dashboard. So now I just showed you how a coaching cycle occurs from starting it to saving it in a draft form and then finally finishing it and the Google Doc is created. So I'll come back to this example right here. This is an example of what this dashboard could look like, let's say in mid to late January. And it's very easy to see because there's different color blues. There's the light blue, which is for the ongoing or open cycles, and then there's the dark blue for the completed or finished cycles. So it's easy to see. You can just look vertically and see which coaching cycles are currently ongoing and which ones have been completed. You can see which teachers have received coaching cycles, the duration, the frequency of cycles, and then with the click of a button, you can drill down and see the Google Doc for the completed cycles, or access the Google form to edit the coaching cycle if it's the light color blue. The last thing I'll show you on this document is the summary page. And this is just a quick summary for the coach because it's hard to get the aggregate data instead of clicking in each of the different Google Docs. So this is just a running tally that shows a couple of the quantitative measures that we can capture in a coaching cycle, including the average pre-assessment data and post-assessment data. Right now, we've only entered in one coaching cycle, but this would just automatically accumulate over the many cycles that are inputted. Additionally, we captured coaching practices. So this capturing the percent of cycles that have each of the different coaching practices could provide some insight into the nature of how the coach is engaging with the teachers. Lastly, I'll come back to the dashboard here. And let's say if a coaching cycle needed to be deleted for any given reason, maybe it was entered erroneously or something needed to be changed, the coach can just click on the coaching cycle, come up to this custom coaching menu, and click delete coaching cycle. And then it will just be removed from the dashboard and from the aggregate data file as well. So thank you very much for listening, and let me know if you have any questions.